Today is the 18th of March and we're giving you a crop update for the Farm Advisory Service. We're in a field in Mid-Lothian, winter barley, and actually it's quite warm. We're in double figures temperature wise, and the last 3 months from December, January, February actually across Scotland have seen rainfall below average historically, but of course we know that's an east-west divide, and a lot of the eastern parts of Scotland have seen well over 120% in Aberdeenshire, Perth and Kinross, and Forfar well over 128% of rain. Temperatures have been about average, but it's been dull. You know, we've only seen about 71% of the sunshine that we would expect over the winter. But crops went in well in the autumn. People got on early in September. This field of barley is looking very well tilled, and there are some very good fields of wheat out there that are growing ahead strongly. And I think that's really because they got roots down early on. And despite the rainfall, I think crops are sitting fairly pretty as we go into spring. I mean, it's been difficult for sprayers and that to get on the last couple of days, whether that's herbicides or fungicides. It's warmer today. Soil temperatures are picking up about 8 degrees now, so things are starting to move. And Neil, I don't know what you've been seeing in the way of disease in winter cereal crops.
So we've seen quite a mixed picture, Mark. It's quite interesting. Some of the things that we know establish early in the autumn, things like septoria and mildew, they've gone through the winter, so keeping our eye on them. We're just getting at the point now, especially with winter wheat crops. Last year we had all those issues with yellow rust. We're looking for the appearance of yellow rust. We're seeing it at some of the trail sites and some of the more susceptible lines. So as we come up to the T-knot spray timing, this is when you need to be walking your crop. Are you seeing yellow rust? If you're growing a susceptible variety, think about putting in something that's going to act against that in your T-knot spray. And for that we're really thinking a strobilurin and a triazole, something like Folicure and Amistar.
And with T1 spray potentially towards the end of April, I suppose the decisions are, do I go with a T-knot and buy myself some protection? And what are your views on that? There's some quite proud crops around, aren't there, at the moment?
There is, and we've seen certainly some septoria and some of the older leaves in these crops. So your T-knot spray, you really want to try and protect the leaves as the crop starts to grow. If you're leaving it till T1, you can have a more established disease, and that's always harder to knock back. Think about a T-knot spray, thinking about something that's going to just check that septoria that's down the bottom of the canopy, stop it moving up into the new growth. And then when you come in with your T1, which will be a more robust spray, you can think about adding something really more hard-hitting to give it a longer protection.
And what about winter barley? When do you think we'll be in here for the first fungicide?
Winter barley, we've seen mildew, we've seen Rhynchosporium, perhaps not at the levels of the septoria, but again, it varies from site to site, so it's always good to walk your crop. Check the susceptibility of your variety. Again, you're looking at kind of some of the cheaper options, something that's just going to knock back the Rhynchosporium without hitting into your big spend. Remember, with winter barley, your T1 timing is the timing that's going to give you your biggest yield benefit. So that's your more robust fungicide program, but try and get you through to that T1 before the disease gets really established.
I was talking to a colleague the other day in the supply industry, and they're saying with the price rises in fuel and the logistical issues, it may be worth looking at your program longer term and perhaps ordering more chemical further ahead, because I suspect those transport costs might get rolled into chem prices in the next 2 or 3 months.
That's right. We lived in a very volatile situation, so the transport costs and the cost of everything is going up. From what we're hearing, the good news is the availability of the fungicide products isn't going to be an issue this year, as far as we know, but the cost of spraying it, the cost of transport will go up, so you'll probably see everything creep up a little bit.
Yeah. Probably worth, I mean, these crops look all right from a nutrition point of view in terms of sort of manganese and copper and zinc, but it's probably worth keeping an eye out on that just in case, because with the rainfall we've had, they could start to show symptoms potentially over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Should we touch on spring cropping? I've seen a bit of spring barley sown in East Lothian last week, but you mentioned there's quite a bit gone in further north.
So further north, the areas that avoided all of those rain, they've had soil that's been able to work it faster, so they're almost finished their spring barley, whereas other parts of the country have not even started,
Yeah.
especially the wetter parts.
I did see there was quite a range in 1,000 grain weight on some of the seed that was being offered to farmers. It's probably just worth checking. You know, you could be putting seed in that's 44 or 50,000 grain weight, so just do check what your desired seed numbers per metre squared are, and you might even save a bit of money.
That's true. I mean, it's probably a reflection on last year's conditions. We had a lot of lighter grains, so that the grains didn't fill as well as we'd hoped for last year.
I think that's probably all we've got for March. We'll see you again in April for the next crop update.